Hey Steelers Syndicate, welcome back. I'm Joe Rockey, and today the Steelers have fulfilled a major need that I've been talking about in signing Keanu Neal. And what Neal brings to the table is a guy who can fill in the role that Edmonds has just left. Now, there's a couple of key differences between Neal and Edmonds, but starting with all of the happy highlights, the middle of the field is now completely coverable between the skills that Neal brings to the table and KZ brings to the table, allowing Minka to free reign. And really, this was my goal and desire that the Steelers would have in the offseason to essentially build the secondary in such a way where their best athlete in the secondary, in Minka Fitzpatrick, can ball and basically be like Troy and do whatever he wants. Now, obviously, he will have assignments per his plays, just like Troy did. But given the ability to know that the other people around him are just as talented and capable of doing their jobs, that really opens up the door. So last year, we rarely, if ever, we saw Minka have to ever double team a tight end because Edmonds was able to just take him out of the game. And a lot of times where Minka ended up being was filling in for our inept linebackers, being the other middle portion of the field. So the tight end in middle left or middle right, depending upon where the offense would line him up, Edmonds blanketed that, but it was the other middle section. Where I believe the Neal signing brings in is because Neal is both rangy and a contact player. We look at how it was when he was a rookie, when he was playing 100% of the snaps in and years out, over 100 tackles each year, showing that he's able to come up and make the contact. He's not afraid of it. He obviously gets injured in his third year, doesn't really get on the field that much. Like I say, gets hurt in the first game. Third year or his fourth year, he only plays in 3 games and then kind of recovers to his old way, playing 15 games in his final year in Atlanta. His prior 2 years, he's been a rental player at both Dallas and at Tampa, where he only averaged 50% of the snaps, respectfully. So we're coming off a guy who is accepted the fact that he's going to be a role player, which he's going to be in this system, unless he becomes the coverage corner, which I fully do not expect. He's going to be in a rotation with KZ, depending upon what the offense is bringing on the field, as the positional heavy dime player. And this is a massive position. I get that it's a specialty spot, but where it'll come into play is it'll take the tight ends and give us much needed middle of the field help. Because as talented as Minka Fitzpatrick is, using him as essentially the linebacker that we don't have is not fully utilizing his talents. Bringing Neal in to be able to do that drastically improves the overall ability of this defense. Now, there are massive holes remaining. We do not have a number 2 corner. We do not have a slot corner that can cover. We have not replaced that from Cam Sutton. Really, what the Peterson signing was giving us a quality and capable outside coverage guy that we haven't had since Hayden left. So obviously a huge growth spot, but we don't have the slot corner taken care of yet, nor really the number 2 corner. You know, they brought Pierre back, but Pierre has been like on and off the acceptable radar his whole career here. There's been games where he's been thrown in because he's been injured, but as soon as the injury comes back, he's never really been able to hold his own. So to me, that's the coaching staff saying he's an acceptable backup, but he's not our go-to guy. So when I look at all this being said, we have 3 premium top 50 picks. To me, this opens up the possibility of left tackle being in play, outside corner, and probably with number 50, the slot corner. Unless, of course, you're looking at a God-sent receiver falling in your lap. But unless that happens, which you can't really bank on someone else messing up, I suspect the game plan entering into the situation being we're going to address outside corner, Maybe we address left tackle, and we're going to definitely address slot corner. And really, those are the only true needs I see on this team right now. In terms of starting position is open. And tomorrow I'm going to break down in our episode what I believe the possibilities for trade candidates are. But right now, when we're strictly talking about what Neal is bringing to the table, it is so much of an upgrade and positivity because it takes one of the responsibilities away from the linebackers that we just signed that, again, are not world beaters in coverage. And taking the tight end out of the game is so incredibly vital for how the Steelers do defense. Because as we get this great pass rush, and the whole team is built around Highsmith and Watt getting the pass rush. But when that happens, every offense instinctually knows we got to get the ball out quick. And there's two ways you do that. You either do it on a quick wide receiver screen or you get to the tight end trying to move downfield a little bit. And now that we have Peterson, who's capable and willing to do press coverage on their number one target, the wide receiver screen becomes way less attractive when the corner is right in your face. There's no way to throw the ball. You're basically inviting an interception, which giving the argument for let's go get a good press corner in here really enhances that. Because now we're taking their number one and their number two receivers, deleting them from quick out options, and basically saying the tight end would be where they're going. And now that that's off the table, when you're facing the Pittsburgh Steelers defense and Watt and Highsmith are coming at you, you're starting to really, really run out of viable options of how to attack this defense. You're going to be having to reattempt, can we run the ball up the middle? Well, if Cam and Ogunjobi are able to fulfill what they did last year in terms of shutting down the middle of the field at the line of scrimmage, that option gets really diminished. As we have two great edge rushers, sometimes people go, we're going to run right at them. Well, running right at TJ Watt doesn't really help because he can get through so much. Sure, you might be able to get him in the wrong gap and might be able to catch him on play, but you're not going to do that consistently. It's just not going to work. And even if you do catch them on the gap, the one thing about these linebackers we signed, even though they're not great at coverage, they don't let people pass them. They don't have missed tackles, and they go tackle to tackle very well in terms of lateral movement. So I'm looking at this, if I'm attacking the Steelers defense, running up the middle is what I have to try, because I don't think running around the edge is a viable option, especially if we bring back Bud. Now, I'm not saying we need to. I think that with the two that we have, it's completely solid. That being said, I do want a third linebacker. If it's Bud, great. I'm totally okay with that. I'd rather have another pass rusher because I believe the league is better at taking out the pass. You get more benefit out of that than the run stopper. But if Bud is the answer, I'm not opposed to it. So looking at this team, now the only spot left that's viable of targeting is that third corner, your slot receiver, which, given the fact that it's the middle of the field again we're targeting, that can be where Minka ends up cheating. So here's your chances as you're getting blitzed. We're throwing to a guy who's being blanketed by Peterson. We're throwing to a slot guy where Minka's stepping up because he doesn't think you'll throw it over top. Even if you do, KZ is back there and he's an amazing center fielder. You're throwing it at a first-round pick or number 32 overall cornerback. There's not unless the rookie is complete implosion, Artie Burns style, I don't see the obvious spot of where this defense is getting picked on. And yes, there's turnover on this team from where it was last year. But the core four that can drive this defense to all victory, Highsmith, Watt, Cam, and Minka, all are there. And there is no reason to suspect you're going to get a drop-off from any of them. The one you would point out would be Cam because of his age. But the one thing that's true with all fighters, heavyweights are the last to go. Speed goes first, power goes last. And Cam is the powerful man of that defense. So if I'm looking at this and I want to attack the Steelers defense, it's basically try to hope running up the middle works, maybe. Try to hope we can tire out TJ Watt and take him off the field, and then maybe we'll be able to double team Highsmith on the back end. But if I'm an offense, as most of them are in the NFL, that want to be a pass first base team, I don't see how that works against this. Which goes to the team that we play that's not pass first in the Ravens. If we can stop that edge so Lamar can't scoot to the outside and Cam stops down Dobbins up the middle, I don't really see a way we attack this. It's going to come down to, do they draft someone who can cover Higgins? Because I believe right now as we sit, it's a two-horse race for the AFC North. And it's, will we be able to cover those Bengals, specifically Higgins? Because I do believe Peterson has taken Chase out of the game. This defense is amazing. Keanu Neal opened up so many possibilities. This is possibly the most needed signing that they've done to date, aside from maybe Peterson. And this is a fantastic, classic Steelers, under the radar, week 2 free agency, quality player, immensely talented, and feels a gigantic need. Khan is killing it, and tomorrow we're going to talk about the trade possibilities that Khan is alluding to, that we could be doing something massive in the draft. So see you guys on Monday. Today, here we go Steelers. Here we go.